of things to make an argument that Alabama belongs there.
Mm-hmm. Now,
understand what I'm saying?
Now, if they win, yeah, if they win, they will be in.
And that's the problem I have. But that's fine.
But tell me why though? Because look at what they would have done. They would have beaten Tennessee, a ranked opponent. They would have beaten Georgia, number 1 team in the country. They beat LSU, who was ranked at the time. They beat Ole Miss, who was ranked at the time, and they lost a game at home to Alabama. And their quarterback, the way that their quarterback is playing now is like he is a different person than he was then. You would be able to make an argument that Alabama would be one of the best 4 teams in the country because of their body of work.
Never see the argument, but still, nah.
I don't want to see them get there. Trust me, Chris. I don't want to see Alabama in there either. I hate them.
But they're pushing it though, and that's my problem. They're really pushing it. And listen, granted, they dug themselves out of the hole, but that's the problem. Will any other team get that type of, besides Ohio State?
Right.
Will any other team get that grace period?
Well, I don't know. I mean, kind of reminds me of the University of Florida on college football 2012 when their players never dropped any passes, and it took the whole team to bring down Tim Tebow.
Right. So I mean I don't know what's going to be. I know what the country. It's going to end up. I don't think Alabama's going to be Georgia. That's a simple fact. I think Georgia's just going to run shop over.
Mm-hmm. Right. Sapphire, you got that look on your face.
No, I mean, I'm just listening because while I think you have extremely palpable points, very salient, you mentioned rankings. I always think about, at this stage of the game, the power rankings. And I think if you look, Ohio State has the second best power ranking, I think, behind Michigan. So I think about, your undefeateds need to be your top 4. But I would be a little surprised to see Ohio State fall any lower than number 6. As a matter of fact, I'd be curious to see if they land at 5 because of that power ranking. However, if Bama can go and beat Georgia, that shakes everything upside down. I definitely think Alabama should catapult. They do that up in the top 4. So those are my thoughts.
And they also look at style. They also look at how you play. Like they literally every time they say that, we gotta see how they play. It's the eye test. It's the eye test. And when I watch the eye test of Alabama, they don't give me the eye test like they're the most dominant, top 4 dominant team in the nation. They win the games. They're playing, but they don't give me that feel. Like when I watch Georgia, I'm like, oh man, that's the team. Right. When I watch Ohio State, when I don't get anybody else, I'm like, oh man, that's not that's a team. Mm-hmm. Now, Washington, I think they put up really good numbers, but I really think they can be beaten. Right? You play,
they have the weakest power ranking. I would agree with Chris on that. It's gonna be interesting.
Oregon is the star because while I think they can play and match up with anybody, I don't know how they will do in the big game, right? And Florida State just need to be tested. And plus, you say they quarterback, you know what I mean? But that's what I look when I look at Alabama. Yeah, they'll beat Georgia, but how they beat Georgia? Like that's the thing. How are you beating this Georgia team?
You really think that'll matter? I don't think if they would have beat Georgia, I don't think the way they beat Georgia would matter at all.
But that's what the committee said over the past year. So we watch the games. We want to see how it looks.
But in this case though, if Alabama beats Georgia, they're going to the playoff.
Yes, sir.
There's no doubt about it. They are going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Again, you can make the argument that their strength of schedule would be like a top 3 strength of schedule in the country.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. We're thinking the same way.
And I hate to say it because
why does everybody hate on Bama? This is what I don't understand. What did I miss?
No, it's not hating on Bama. Is giving them the lane to try to get in. That's the problem I have. It's the lane. Well, no, every year, but they still can do it. They still can do it. and knowing that it's still Washington and Florida State, or like other teams are really ahead of them in every poll. There are teams ahead of them, and that's the fact you've given them credence to leap over 5 teams to get. Now, if you say they at the 4th spot, then that's cool. But if they leap everybody and end up being the number 1 seed, then that is totally wrong. They leap.
That won't happen. That won't happen.
But that's the way they're talking. But they will be number 2 team in the nation. Like, that's not right. You can move them up to 4, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah, because if they beat Georgia, Georgia will move down to number 4. Georgia would not fall out of the top 4.
I don't even think Georgia moves to 4. I think they literally moved to 2.
Nah, because you still got Michigan that is undefeated.
So,
and a Big Ten champion. So Michigan, if Georgia loses and everything goes the way that we think it's gonna go, Michigan will be the number 1 seed.
Can I make this argument, Willie, about Michigan? Can I make that argument? I've made an argument for 2 days that they are literally probably the number 1 team in the nation. And I'm going to tell you why.
You can make the argument, yeah.
Because they play 6 games without their head coach. And can these other teams win 6 games without their head coaches?
I'm pretty sure they could. I'm pretty sure
That's
Georgia
tough.
would be able to.
That's
I'm
tough.
sure.
Maybe Georgia.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
submit this to you guys. If Ohio State lands in that 5th spot, and if Georgia loses, Georgia's out of the top 4.
Nope, not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'll put it out there. Rachel, I hope you clicked on the record button.
Put the record on it. Let's set fire.
Let's put the record on it.
That's not gonna happen unless it's a blowout.
Listen,
Unless they get completely blown out of the water.
I'm just saying. Ohio State's power ranking is better. And if those variables fall into place, I'm saying I see Georgia falling out of the top 4.
That's not gonna happen.
I don't think so.
There's no way. There's no way in the West, North, South, or East HE double hockey sticks is that gonna happen unless they get blown out.
We're gonna see.
That's a tough one. I can't say that one either. That's not gonna happen. They losing the SEC championship, not taking you out the top 4.
Now if they were number 4 and they lose, then yeah, that's different. Even if they were number 4 and undefeated, like Florida State is, or even Washington, if they were number 3 or 4 and undefeated and they lose to Alabama, then yeah, they will fall out. But as the number 1 team in the country, and they may not say it, and they ain't gonna say it, but the fact that team has not lost a game in 3 years, that would never happen.
Now, and plus, here's the thing: we are all banking on that Florida State and Washington and Michigan are all going to win. They all win their game. Well, somebody's going to lose the game, right? That's what we're banking on. Like, who's going to say Washington loses to Oregon? Who's to say who Florida State play? Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Who says that Florida State loses to Louisville? Right? They win those games. Michigan wins the championship. Georgia wins the championship. There's your top 4. There's nothing you can do about that. Like, that's the easy call.
Yeah.
That is an easy call. There's nothing. So we got to anticipate that.
So what happens like this? What happens if Michigan loses, Washington loses, Florida State loses, and Georgia wins?
And there you go. There's the fight.
And there's the fight. And I think Ohio State might creep back up in there. Oh, and then we forgot about Texas because Texas has to play Kansas State. So Texas would get in too.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. So here's the good question.
Oklahoma won't be there. They got 2 losses.
Oklahoma State. Texas playing Oklahoma State.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or you're right. Okay, State. Yeah,
Instead of fire. Here's the best thing. Now, Alabama beats Georgia. Texas wins out, and they beat Alabama. Did Texas get in?
Yes.
Because you beat the team.
Yes.
You beat Alabama, the team that beats Georgia.
They would.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, if Texas wins in Georgia, if Texas wins and Alabama wins, yeah, you got to put Texas in there. You have a Big 12 champion, and then you have a head-to-head victory over the team that beat the number 1 team, and you had that victory at their place.
Okay, who comes out then?
Who comes out?
Who comes out? Which you got the other 3 teams.
Florida State. I don't think Florida State would make it.
Even if they beat Louisville.
Even if they beat Louisville, I don't think they would make it. I don't think they would make it.
They would do it because of the quarterback. That's so bad.
Yeah.
They would do it because of the quarterback.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would be hard for me to sit in the room saying, you know what, Alabama beat Georgia, so they're in, but Texas won their championship as well, and they beat Alabama. Yeah. How can we not put them in? I would have a hard time trying to convince anybody of that.
Who would have a hard time?
I would.
You. And you know the people in that room, they would never have a hard time doing things like that because they are a different thing of people.
Well, yeah.
They're some of them was former senators.
Kickbacks.
You got to think about how they look at things.
Yeah, you're right.
We would look at it, think about it like literally sports and people, how we look at things, we would say, oh, no, Texas got to get in. They didn't beat that team already. But we got to look at how the committee is looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The committee looking at it, how people travel, like all sorts of things. So we could almost put that one out the window because that's the logical thinking.
This just in, your boy is a finalist for the Biletnikoff.
Yeah, as he should be.
Malik Neighbors, though, boy.
He's a bad boy.
That dude, man, oof.
Bad boy.
But anyway, that's all I got.
Sorry, you got it. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll have to see. We visit this on Monday or Tuesday after the conference championships, and it doesn't mean anything if everybody wins.
Nope. But I'm voting outside of Michigan losing. I'm voting for chaos.
Yeah, me too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm voting for chaos. Listen, I'm voting for Michigan to be number one, and that's it.
Nope. Not going to be number one.
Why not?
And be number two to Georgia.
Why not?
Because.
Oh well, yeah. Okay, that's cool. So we'll meet them in the championship game.
Yeah, possibly.
After we destroy Texas.
After, like, you can't have another TCU incident, but I foresee Michigan and Georgia playing in the national championship.
Yeah, they did kind of give it to us a few years ago in the Orange Bowl.
They did at TCU game, but it came back.
But then I got to tell you, I would have to support the Big Ten team if that happened. As difficult it is for me to say, I would have to support the Big Ten team.
That's a Twitter poll question.
It is.
Yeah.
Ohio State fans don't want to do it. Ohio State fans, listen, I was around some Ohio State fans. They couldn't wait for Michigan to lose in a bowl game or any game.
I'm Georgia fatigue, so I'm tired of them.
So let me ask y'all this: who do y'all think people are more tired of? Georgia now or Alabama when they were doing this?
Alabama.
I think Georgia.
I gotta say, I'm telling you, I love what Saban has brought to college football. I can't hate on Alabama. I just can't do it. I can't hate on Georgia. I think that there's something to be said about having a program be consistent the way that those two programs have. It says a lot about the culture, the leadership on all levels. I can't hate on either one of them, to be honest.
Or you just getting the best players in the nation.
and then why? But you got to ask yourself why. Why do you even do that consistently, right?
Because you send them to the league. That's all the kids. I'm telling you, they look at it, they're going to the league. Let me go this. So, can I get to the league? When you can have receivers, even your backups get to the league, that's all it is. So you get the best players.
And that's fair. And really, really starting next year, that's going to pretty much be the norm wherever these athletes go. I mean, the way that they've shaken up the whole system. So, and I would love a Coach Saban. I would love a Coach Saban because he gets results. And
I think Georgia's more likable, though.
What's that?
I think Georgia is a more likable team as opposed to Alabama, though.
No, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
I like Saban. It's not like against Alabama. I don't like the Alabama fans as much. I don't like Ohio State fans now, but like they think they're supposed to always be into something.
Yeah.
Like they think, this is our right to be in that. No, it's not. It's football. It's going to happen. Like it's going to happen. You don't have the right to be anywhere.
Yeah.
We lost 3 teams, but it's because of X, Y, and Z, and we belong in the playoffs. No, you don't.
That's like Notre Dame saying they're a blue blood.
Right.
And they're not. Sorry,
maybe
but
60
not
years
sorry.
ago.
When's
But
the last
not
time
anytime soon.
When's the last time they won a national championship? You could even, I mean, until recently, you could even question whether or not Michigan has been a blue blood. They're more of a, I would say, a gray blood.
Yeah. I don't think it's any more blue, but I just think that the game and this landscape of college football has changed dramatically.
Mhm.
Even with the fan bases and everybody else got to understand, like this game is enhanced and it's played way differently. The kids are way different. Every part of it, how it was going, the transfer portal and everything. So the teams that could keep most of their players, most of their best players, and not have much attrition is going to keep winning, right? So you got to lower that. Georgia and Alabama, people don't talk about it. They have a lot of people to transfer because they kind of over recruit. So if you have a certain amount of scholarships, right, they'll recruit over that. And then the rest is, hey, listen, you got to go somewhere else, right? So that's probably what Georgia and Alabama does very, very well is when they recruit very well. Guys that were 3 or 4 stars, like they'll bring in 3 stars just to keep them away from Alabama. I mean, keep them away from
right.
Ole Miss.
Like companies buy the competition.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep you away from these teams, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Urban Meyer did, and Trussell did with Michigan. Michigan grabbed Ohio players, but it was like, nope, I'm gonna grab these players. You recruit them, I'm gonna grab them too.
The Glenville pipeline,
Like
which
I'm gonna
don't
grab them.
exist
I'm
anymore.
gonna grab them and keep them. Whether you play or not is up to you. No, at that point, a kid, but we're going to keep you away, and that's what kind of Georgia them teams does. And I can't be mad at them. That's what you do. So it comes in what kind of team you gotta have, what kind of development you gotta have.
Mm-hmm.
Like Oregon, they're going to see that. Like them guys moved to the Big Ten, right? What they're not understanding is you're moving to the Big Ten, but now you open up your recruiting floodgates in the area you recruit at. Now, not only you're competing with your Pac-10 brethren who moved over. Now you're going to compete with Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State. You're opening this up, and you're going to see a lot of movement. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be nice though. Great for college football. Willie, last words.
Nah. I mean, it was scintillating. So I'm a bounce man. I see Mr. Harris is in the building. Y'all gonna get to some Cleveland Brown stuff. I appreciate you letting me jump in, Rachel, and continue to cockroach off y'all.
Wait, before you leave, let's get Iree's 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, Iree. How you doing, sir?
Greetings. How are you all?
Good.
Hey.
Can we get your college top 4 right now?
In football?
Yeah.
Oh God. All right. Yeah, sure. Let's go off the bat with it. Let's just do, of course, Georgia. You know, why wouldn't we? So Georgia 1, Michigan 2. I think you have to put Washington 3 right now, and you know what? I haven't even checked the rankings yet, but I'm gonna just put Florida State there just because of the fact they've still been able to win, you know, and deserve a chance. So I'll make that my 4th right there. Hopefully that's a good 4.
Willie, that satisfy you?
Yeah, it was the same thing.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it was the same as mine.
Take care, Willie.
All right.
All right,
See y'all
Willie.
next week.
All right,
Ciao.
Willie. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Peace.
All right. We're going to go to a break right quick. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Her and Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am here with Irie and Sapphire. And don't forget, you can always listen to WOVU at 95.9 FM. You can listen to us online at WOVU.org. Also, download that WOVU app so you can take us with you on the go. And then you can always contact the studio at 216-271-0959. Like I said, I'm here with Sapphire and Irie Harris of Cleveland.com. Irie, how are you today, sir?
All right, Rachel, I'm feeling good. Man, quite surprised by the sudden weather hit that we got, but it's nice to look at. So I'm just enjoying it. Definitely full off of the holiday as well. So a lot of things happening at once, but what better way? How about yourself? And,
I'm
and and as
doing
well as getting some
good.
fun.
I'm doing good.
Are you as surprised with how the Browns played on Sunday offensively as you are with our weather, Irie?
No, as I've said on the last episode, nothing surprises me anymore regarding the weather nor the Browns. And why we start off the episode by giving you your props and to calling out that saying, hey, watch out within the Payton versus Stefanski. Even if you didn't hit the head on the nail exactly as maybe you had said and stuff, you still point out the fact that hey, Stefanski is going to coach a little differently than he really should or as or how he has during the 3 game win streak. And he did. And God, do we have a lot to get into? So let's do it.
Yeah, so go ahead and start us off, Irie. With that, what are your overall thoughts of the game to begin with?
I felt like plugging my eyes out. That was, to be honest, that was for one, there are some defensive blues whenever they have a game that's west of Cleveland. Every game that they've had west in Indianapolis, Seattle, freaking Denver, anywhere that's going left of the city, they just for some reason play bad and come out very slow and drowsy. Even Miles Garrett looks, slow and confused at multiple times. Offensively, well, uh, this was different, and this is why I say that's why I started off saying it was different. In past times, we sound like broken records, just staying and begging for the run to be made, whether it's for Nick Chubb last season or because Han Ford and Pierre Strong are doing well as a 3-man committee. There has maybe been never been a better reason for this team to actually activate and emphasize the run game than the fact that the Broncos had the worst running game the worst run protection defensively going into this game since
In the NFL.
in the NFL, exactly. In the entire league. Thank you for that on. Since October 1st, the Broncos run defense has given up the most rushing yards per game every week since October 1st. They've ranked dead last since October 1st. It's gone from 178 to 158. Then, it's at 160.2 exactly going into Sunday. And you're telling me that there's only 24 carries for the run game? And
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 14 at the half. So, yeah, a lot of questions right now regarding that. I mean, even at one point, I think it was Mark Sanchez that I noticed that Dorian Thompson Robinson had 10 pass attempts while the run game only had 5. So a lot of questions within that. That's why I say this is different than past games where you're just trying to nitpick or something. Because this time it's actually served to you on a platter right in front of you as to what was done, as to what was more so not done. Uh, a messy show that should have not happened that way. Even after Dorian Thompson went out and you bring in PJ Walker, they still stay within the pass attack. I did not see anything much from the Broncos defense that said, yeah, let's pass him or let's air it out. I did not at all. At all. So yeah, I'm very disgusted. That was a blasphemous performance.
Well, yeah, pretty much Stefanski got out coached because all of us who don't get paid millions of dollars to tell a football team what to do. The thing is, why wouldn't you run the ball? Why are you passing on 1st and 10 and you're going up against the worst run defense in all of the NFL and you're not doing what, you're not playing to their weakness? I mean, that's just unfathomable. You know what I'm saying? So I just, it was a stunning loss because your team started to gain momentum. They tied the game up. Unfortunately, they had 5 drops. And I feel sorry for DTR because he looked like he was playing remarkably better. He was connecting on passes. Yes, balls come, they're thrown from quarterbacks in different ways, but 5 drop passes. So they're second in the league after Kansas City with 26 drop passes, drops at
Amazing.
critical times. I couldn't believe that Amari Cooper dropped that 2-point conversion to tie up the game, which kind of would have, took things in a different direction. So, he was plagued with that by his receivers. And once again, like last week, his receivers let him down. They were able to win the game last week, but in this week, they let him down, and they unfortunately weren't able to come back, which I think they would have been able to. But missing that 2-point conversion, I think, was indicative of changing the tide of the game completely.
Yeah. So, Sapphire, please add on to this.
I mean, you know how disgusted I am. I don't think I need to walk you through that tulip bed. I'm just so curious because I couldn't even listen to the post-game presser. I did not want to hear Kevin Stefanski's voice. My question is, did anyone ask him what his rationale was for not running the football? Do we know his perspective on that game and why he didn't run?
Well, from what I see within the other transcript that the Browns PR gave us, I mean, he had mentioned of missed opportunities, within both areas, and the regular wanted to do better and be better kind of thing. That close,
He
close.
says every week.
Yeah. Close that lasts longer than coffee stays hot.
Right.
It and I understand why people will flag or critique Stefanski the way they do. And as I've said prior in the show multiple times, I try not to, because
Yeah.
I realize, I understand, I give props for him being able to win when still lose, still finding a way to win when losing important players, not just Chubb, but also like we haven't even mentioned Judge Wills in a minute, and he was
Yeah.
improving after the bye week. Like he has lost chunks of guys on both, especially within the offensive side of the ball, and still has been, found a way to win. Like they have 7 wins right now. They're in the hunt for the playoffs, let alone something a meter hits and something happens with the Ravens. They can mess around, even, vie for the title for the division. Like he has done that. But Sunday did not give any credibility to him being able to say, hey, like, trust me, we're going to do better on this.
Yeah.
Because that was a bad performance. It's almost like, it was almost as though, like on multiple times, especially with that, because there was a lack of ball security for one. 3
Yep.
turnovers, but there were, what I want to say, 5 fumbles. At that 5
I think it
exactly,
was
and
4.
4 or 5. Okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
then on top of that, I mean, PJ Walker being sacked 4 times, even if it was in the last couple of minutes when he stopped playing, like, and this isn't just a box score breakdown. Like this is strictly the eye test, and what the eye test saw was something that did not want to be seen anymore. I wouldn't even show my dog that. Like,
Yeah.
it was just bad from top to bottom.
No, it's real. Listen, that's real. And for me, again, I always say I look at the game from a different lens. I think about morale. I think as soon as they called PJ Walker, I really knew that was the nail in the final nail in the coffin. You got Joe Flacco on that sideline. So PJ knows, like, he really is done with the Browns. He knows this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but then you're going to put him in and then call that play. Like,
Yeah.
knowing, like, it's just, it just boggles my mind when I think about a professional such as Kevin Stefanski making those types of play calls, right? But then I also think when I look at the schedule, I'm curious to know what you guys see, even just with the next 4 games, because Sapphire sees 1 and 3. Sapphire sees Stefanski is going to get a 38, 39-year-old quarterback punched on that field. Like, what do you see just about the next 4 games?
Yeah, I give him 2-2 right now, just within the state of this team right now. I give him a 2-2 record within the next 4 games. They're really, I mean, sneaky opponents. Sean McVay, I feel that name, that's all that has to be said. Jacksonville has really done a well job. Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, Chicago, even with the win last night, still Chicago. But then Houston, with CJ Stroud, somebody that, I mean, and I say this with hope, respectfully, he should be getting a couple of MVP votes by the end of the season. There are some games where it's not going to be a cakewalk. So it's really going to be a sense of that. And just by the way, go back to that first play. Yeah, that was definitely the nail in the coffin. That was the icing on the cake. And, well, the first play of the 4th quarter being, well, another freaking reverse jet sweep to where you want to use the wide receivers as running backs. I was over Stefanski using his wide receivers as running backs by week 4, especially
Right.
after Elijah Moore had that, I want to say, like that negative, like 19, negative 20 run Versus Baltimore in week 4. After that, I was over him, using wide receiver. Even after the good times, even after Marquise Goodwin comes out with a big one, even after a touchdown has happened, I was still done with that. But that was definitely, and actually, and let me just ask this, just within a sense of common sense, as we're breaking down everything that we witnessed 48 hours ago, within this team specifically, and I said this even for the season, when the quarterback in the pocket is not named Deshaun Watson, the run game should be emphasized a bit
Mhm.
more, right? Thompson Robinson, Walker, whoever else joins the team middle of the season, such as Flacco in this case, the run game should be a bit more active, right? And if you want to passes shouldn't really be done any more farther than 10 yards, right? Like that was the one thing I commended
Yep.
last week versus Pittsburgh. Thompson Robinson did about 43 times. I want to
Mhm.
say 27 of those passes were within the 10-yard line. And look, between the line of scrimmage and the 10-yard
Right.
line,
Right.
no further than 10 yards.
Right.
And that really helped out. Even with this one interception, which never should have happened at that, just hitting the body of Amari
Mhm.
Cooper, they still kept it within the short
Mhm.
pass game. Like those are literally the things needed, not even including better ball security to win. And for you to just go far left of that and act like you have Pat Mahomes out there, uh,
Hello.
yeah, you know what? This is bad. I don't like
It's
what
just
I'm doing.
nonsensical. It's just nonsensical. Look, the Rams are playing better. That we know, like you said, we're traveling west. We know typically, historically, how we've done traveling west, right? And Rachel knows I'm always big on can they fly them out west any earlier than they typically do, especially at Mile High, where you know your body has to acclimate to a
Yeah.
different sea level. Like they did look tired. They looked like, oh, they didn't have that energy level. Okay, even more of a reason. Let's just ground and pound. But thank goodness they didn't come back. And from what I'm understanding, they're already out there on the West
Yeah.
Coast.
Yep,
But
they are.
still, I think that's going to be a tough game for them to win. Then we have the Jaguars. Come on, man. Come on. Like right now, I don't know about the next 2 weeks because it's not that I don't believe we don't have the players to win. It always comes back to Stefanski for me. And so, like, what are the conversations you think are happening, Irene? I'm not even talking about with the players, but just from a management perspective, not to say, hey, you haven't performed, you're gonna get fired if you don't, no ultimatums, but what are the real conversations happening based on what we all saw on Sunday and what we've seen this season? What do you think those conversations sound like?
Those conversations sound like, well, for one, especially specifically within the remaining schedule, if if they don't end the last 6 games with a record over 500, then there will be possibly some boosts coming to
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I do think it's clear to say because it's almost becoming insanity, even with the 3 game win streak. Just off of that performance alone, it doesn't it implies that they could be on a high again within the next few games, and if something like that happens again, in which they go totally out of the box and left of what we feel should be applied so that they can creep further closer to a win. And the worst part is timing, because and I'm just saying hypotheticals here, right? Knock on wood. This is a team that they believe they can make the playoff. They believe they can contend for a Super Bowl. Let's say that this happens again. Let's say versus the Texans, right? But then let's
Right.
let's let's say that they win the next 3 games. This happens against the Texans. They lose. All right, they win. They win the next couple games versus the Jets and Bengals. They make the playoffs, and then something like this happens again. Then
Right.
what? Because this
Right.
happens, it seems to be once every few games, which will equal out to a few business days. So then what? That definitely is, I believe, included within the conversations behind in management.
Like I love how you put that in the context because to me, just and I don't know anything. I'm just an intuitive feeler about sports. It's like if he would just hand over the play calling, I would have so much more respect for him because clearly doing it his way has not yielded us consistent results.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how much clearer it needs to be. And it's not a failing. Maybe he just needs some help right now in terms of career growth. I don't know. But that last week, to your point, against the league's worst run defense, and you put that out on the field, I don't know how he comes back from that. I just don't know.
I absolutely think he's failing because, I can imagine plays coming from Alex Van Pelt like, hey, let's run the ball. And, Kevin Stefanski changing that, calling audible and changing those plays.
Yep.
So I think he's absolutely failed at play calling, especially, a game against the Denver Broncos. And like I said, with them having the worst run defense in all of the NFL, your whole game plan should have been running that ball. You've done it with 3 running backs who, are averaging some of the highest, rushing yards in the NFL, running back by committee, but you've been able to outrush other teams. So I don't understand how you completely go against what's working for you.
Yeah.
You guys, we got to take a quick break. We're up against it. You're listening to Her and the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We will be right back.
It's crazy. Look what they did with 35-year-old Russell Wilson, right? They used his legs. I mean, I just was like, I cannot make this up. Like, I felt, I feel like I'm just coming out of a concussion protocol myself right now.
I can't disagree with you at all on that. I cannot.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the first lady.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. That was a very quick break. I am here with Irie Harris of Cleveland.com and Sapphire are here, and we're just talking some Cleveland Browns and talking about what Kevin Stefanski went away from, what was working for his team against the Denver Broncos in a game that I consider completely winnable. One of the things is they were able to get some pressure on Russell Wilson. They weren't able to get him down, but defensively, they looked to step behind, but there was something that the Denver Broncos saw on game film and they were able to exploit against the Cleveland Browns. So defense, and then Myles Garrett got hurt during the game, and he's one of your leaders, and you could tell he was visibly hurt. So thank God the MRI showed no structural damage, so we're anticipating him being back on Sunday. But like I said, Denver saw something in our defense that exposed us, and hopefully LA doesn't pick up. Well, they probably picked it up as well, but they're probably going to use it against us, and hopefully the Browns can have those adjustments.
Yeah, they used their quarterback. They had real designed plays for Russell Wilson. Like, I know I was blowing up the text with everybody. Will they use Dorian's legs? I'm watching Broncos still my play calling, right? That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the defense, like, we give them a little more flack because even if there are moments of not playing up to expectation, they still find a way to bounce back from that and reassure everybody that this defense is for real. That's why even after the multiple, allowing Indianapolis to score 38 points, allowing 28 points from Baltimore in week 4, 21 of that in the first half, they still find a way to bounce back and show, no, we are for real. And that's why people within the football world give them their props. And I think on top of that Sunday, I mean, injuries played a part into it, right? You didn't have Denzel Ward. Anthony Walker Jr., who's 4th right now on the team in total tackles, was out. Ronnie McLeod, a veteran presence within this team, is out for the season now with torn biceps. Like, there are some actual injuries in real things, especially within this defense. And Juan Thornhill still making his way back. Somebody I personally have yet to see as much from as expected. Right now, it's just looking like he has a good resume. I'd like to see more within his play consistently. But yeah, their run defense broke down. For one, I mean, the run really wore them out a bit. 39 carries for 169 yards. They allowed 2 of the touchdowns that the Broncos had was off the run game alone, and it also came at times where it looked like untouched. Like that Russell Wilson fake. I mean, that QB option right there, that fake handoff was just beautiful. He walked in untouched. So whether it's the geographical location, the timing of the game, or anything of that sort, this team has not done well when going out west, and they really broke down. It looked like the Broncos just slowly played, them into a trap, into where they're able to play their game so fluidly. But at the same time, though, there is a better expectancy, I think, when it comes to this defense right now. I mean, as long as you have Myles Garrett out there, then there's a little bit more confidence in this defense, right?
I'm blaming Kevin Stefanski for everything. It's all Kevin Stefanski's fault.
Oh
Well,
God.
I think the majority of it, I would definitely put the loss squarely on his shoulders for Sunday's game. Absolutely. And I'm going to give some greater context. When you think about sea level at Brown Stadium, I believe we're at like 500, about 80 or 81 feet above sea level. In Mile High, it's 5,280 feet above sea level. Just think about when you fly. If you've ever flown over the country at high altitudes, you talk about jet lag. Then you have to incorporate for what the players experienced, like almost 5,000 more feet higher off of the earth. Think about Mount Everest. Think about your Sherpas. It matters. It makes a difference, right? So, I don't know. I know every team has to deal with it. I'm not trying to make excuses. But for me, I would think that head coach would factor this in. And when he saw his defense out there on the field after consecutive three and outs, would think, okay, my pass game isn't working. Let me just, for the sake of the defense that we are going to have to rely on, let me double down and let me go back to the playbook or reach out to AVP and see what we can do to sustain a run attack. That is to me looking at the game from a different lens.
Yeah, I definitely like, and there's no, there shouldn't be anybody listening right now that's thinking that you're talking crazy because you mentioned looking at it from a different lens last week, and you were spot on,
Mhm.
specifically with the coach versus coaching aspect. So I do see that there within that, and also might I just add too, we're not just begging and saying the pass game isn't running, so work the run game in. Like and we've all said it without really saying it, but like the run game was actually working. The
Yep.
Ford and Hunt 16 carries, I want to say 87 yards. They had 87 of the team's 107 yards, right there. They had six combined first rushing, first down. Might I add on as well? Like in the series in which they were doing well, the Browns offense was looking to score. Like it was Ford pulling off a bigger run. It was Hunt getting, elevating for that first down. Even Thompson Robinson was finding some strides in the run game, scrambling out, away from the, out of the pocket. Like within the Mile High City, within just everything within that, like in those kind of conditions, you expect somebody to stick to their strengths, and that's just not what they did right now. And I never thought I would even speak of the Browns in this manner. I did not. Good God, what is happening to me right now?
Yeah. Well, they better beat the Rams. The Rams are sitting at 5-6, so they should be able to go in there and beat the Rams. Your 7-4 team should be. What did we say the Browns should be? Like 9-1 or 9-2. But JOK had a great game. He was
Yeah,
some everywhere. He caused that fumble, so he had a great game defensively, and he stepped up once Miles Garrett went out. Well, not went out, but once Miles Garrett was having some trouble, they were able to, get a fumble and stuff like that. But I don't think that they were able to convert on that. Did they go 3 and out after getting that fumble, or did they get a field goal off of that?
when exactly again?
When JOK got that fumble from Denver, were they able to convert on that
No,
6 point
no.
3 points, or yeah, they went 3 and out on that?
Yeah, yeah, they don't. And that's the thing with his office right now is that like we're not gonna see them hit their ceiling the way that maybe expected. So now it's just about getting points and spurts, but it's also about doing a better job within capitalizing off of defensive success. You get a fumble, they make it for you, get the fumble, give the ball back to you, and you're not gonna go down there and at least set up for Hawkins to get a field goal. It's quite bad. There's no excuse for it. But onto LA, a run defense that it's just good enough, allowing just the Ram defense is allowing just I want to say around 113 rushing yards a game. That's good enough. That's not too bad. But I mean, the Browns run game before we speaking of, begging for them to have more carries, and they literally were just 6 yards short of that. So I don't see any reason for them to be able to exceed that as well. And yeah, within this offense too. I mean, we know if there's we've talked about offenses that they've gone up against non-divisional, non-conference. You want to talk about an offense you have to watch out for, regardless of who's there. Sean McVay's offense, everything
Absolutely.
out of the box. Like this is Kevin Stefanski's offensive philosophies on steroids. So
Yep.
you don't know what you're gonna see. We may see something on highlights that, and think that's gonna be there and come with an entire different game plan. So I don't even have anything much to say right now regarding that. Outside of, I do look forward to that battle between McVay and Jim Schwartz.
Real quick, I know we're up against it, Rachel. I got to say, I rewrote a phenomenal article last week. I love reading his columns at .com. Anybody listening, you should definitely be following him on cleveland.com. I appreciate your perspectives.
Yes, thank you, Irie. We appreciate you having us, being with us today. I say you having us. We appreciate you always being here on Her in the Huddle. And for Irie, for Sapphire, for Rachel Hill, you've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We are out of here.
Appreciate the shout out, Sapphire. Thank you. And
Absolutely, man.